Number one, before we do anything else, you want to ensure that your blood pressure and your blood sugar is normal. You can't get around that. That is an absolute vital thing. You must ensure that your blood pressure is not above 120 over 80. You take your medications. I cannot emphasize that enough. Take your medications, take your blood sugar. For if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, make sure you're taking the blood sugar medications. I think I've talked about it before. When after a while, I was on some blood pressure medications myself. I decided, okay, this is causing problems for me. I'm not playing squash. I'm not able to run like I should because it was causing my knees to be stiff. I researched, I found out a few other supplements I could use, and they used them for a while, and my blood pressure was maintained. Remember, I kept on emphasizing, you have to check your blood pressure all the time. They don't work all the time. And eventually, I had a very stressful time. We were getting a shipment from abroad, and it was a lot of money. It was worth a lot of money, and we had to make sure that it came out of the ports before the end of the year. And it was very stressful for me. All kinds of things were going on. I'm not going to go into it, but it was very stressful for me. So even with what I was taking, the supplements I was taking, it wasn't kicking my blood pressure normal. So I had to go back on my blood pressure medications. There's nothing to be proud or ashamed about. I had to go back on it. And I'm saying this now to you again, that you got to make sure your blood pressure levels are normal, no matter what you do. You can buy these blood pressure readings. I think they're cheaper and cheaper now, so you should be able to get a good one for probably 5,000 or 10,000 there. I strongly suggest that you get something like that. If you can't go to the pharmacy or go to the hospital, make sure that you check your blood pressure regularly. That said, here are the top nutrients that I feel that you should have. Number one, vitamin D3. Remember, we talk about this all the time. It's only become more important as we go along, especially with COVID-19. Vitamin D3 helps to relax your blood vessels. It also addresses inflammation. It also helps to boost nitric oxide. This is a very important chemical that your blood vessel needs, or your heart and blood vessels needs to be able to relax and let blood flow through. You also need vitamin C. I don't know why there is such a huge backlash against vitamin C. But vitamin C is important for collagen. It's also important for the immune system. It's also important for the lining of the blood vessels. It helps a lot. You should be taking, in my opinion, I take at least 1 gram a day. And what I do is I take the powder, so I put it in a glass of water and I drink it. Or when I'm going to play squash, I drink it every time I come out for a break. So it's not like you're giving it all at once, but you're taking it over a period of time. I think part of the problem is that people just take the pills and they don't spread it over time. And so it just comes into the body and the body gets rid of a lot of it in the urine. All right, let's move on. Number 4, I would say, is potassium. Now, potassium is one of those key nutrients that nobody ever talks about. And I have to tell you, I was shocked myself. Graduated in medical school in 1997. It wasn't until a year or 2 years ago when I really began to understand the importance of potassium, not just for the cardiovascular system, but for the brain as well. Potassium, and we'll probably have to do a separate episode on that, but potassium is important for the health of not just the lining of the blood vessels, but the muscles, and just keeping the blood vessels healthy. If you don't have enough potassium in your blood vessels will not be healthy. So you need ample amounts of potassium. Now, what is shocking is that when I look at the different supplements and the different concoctions that are out there, and I see that the level of potassium is like 100 milligrams at most, they are finding out that you need at least 4,000. Let's say for women is about 3,500, 3,500. Men is about 4,700. Think about that. Milligrams a day. Most supplements only have 100 milligrams. The recommendation now is, scientific recommendation now is that you need at least, I'm just going to round it up to 4,000 milligrams a day. So compare 100 and 4,000. I mean, it's not even comparable. So this is one of the things that make you see why people eventually have disease, because the basic needs, the basic nutritional needs that make the body function like it should, simply aren't being supplied. The next one is magnesium. Magnesium also helps to relax the blood vessels. It does a lot of other things. but it also helps to relax the blood vessels and allows blood to flow through. It also addresses inflammation. Again, we're not getting anywhere near enough magnesium. And the recommendation is about 400 milligrams a day, 300 to 400. We're probably not getting up to 100, even for those who are taking supplements. So you can see that we're in some trouble. Now, when time is almost fully spent, so I also want to talk about nitric oxide. Now, you've heard me talk about it a lot. It's a gas that is produced in the lining of the blood vessels. Nitric oxide diminishes with age. Those who are healthier tend to have more, or if their blood vessels are healthy or their cardiovascular system is healthy, it's because they have more nitric oxide than those who don't. The older you are, the less nitric oxide you have in your system. By the way, Black people tend to have less nitric oxide than white people. One of the reasons is that they don't have enough sun exposure, they don't have enough vitamin D3, and part of their diet, our diet is really not the best. We take too much starchy foods, like I said. So, and a combination of other things, even genetic factors as well, all combined to make sure that we don't have enough nitric oxide. So we recommend at the Brain and Body Foundation, and this is what I've been using for myself for years and years and years, is a combination. We want to try and make it easy for people as much as possible. Make it easy for you to take the supplements that you need. So I've been using this now for almost 20 years. It's a combination. It has all these different things, plus a lot of other things like the vitamin D, like the vitamin B, which I probably should have mentioned, but it's also important for cardiovascular system. Plus, it has, this combination has L-arginine and L-citrulline. These are both amino acids. These are tiny proteins that the body needs to metabolize, to create, to turn into nitric oxide. And that nitric oxide, like I said, is what is extremely important for the blood vessels. So your body needs these things. So just to recap, you need to give your body the nutrients it needs to have a healthy cardiovascular system. You cannot have a healthy cardiovascular system without having a healthy inner lining. The inner lining of the blood vessels is very, very important. The key things: vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium, potassium. Talk to your doctor about these things. Then in addition, consider taking L-arginine, L-citrulline, which help you boost nitric oxide, which is probably the most important substance your cardiovascular system needs. You can't eat nitric oxide because it's a gas. You can't inhale nitric oxide. That's not good for you. You take the raw materials your body needs to make nitric oxide, and your body will now make the nitric oxide where it needs it, which is in the blood vessels. That, if you do that on a regular basis, in addition to eating healthy, in addition to exercising, in addition to standing up whenever you sit down for, you've been sitting down for about an hour or so, getting up, in addition to living a harmonious life with your loved ones, not fighting all the time, in addition to taking care of your dental health, because the cardiovascular system, because the dental health, the teeth, bad teeth can cause major problems in your cardiovascular system. If you do it all together, then you have a much, much, much better chance. I know that's a lot, but you're going to have a much, much, much better chance of having a healthy cardiovascular system.